The beats, the flow, the rhythm. All movements start from the streets. Streets A&R Podcast.
Did Rhea drop her video?
Friday.
A video? Oh, it's coming out Friday.
Okay, I seen the
filmed that.
trailer. Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, because I was like, the aesthetic of her getting in the truck, I was like, that's fire.
Wait till you see the whole video.
Oh, man, I can't wait.
Look, the camera's on. We started.
Hey, right.
We recording? Yes.
Yes.
Red light. Mic check, man. Welcome to the Streets A&R Podcast. It's your host, Giddy Jicky with it.
And it's your girl, CLB.
And we got a special guest in the house. I told you we're going to start running through these Omaha, Nebraska, and national streets, making sure we get the right people on here.
Listen.
Because there's a lot of talent out here. We got a staple in the regional community for all things hip-hop, all things R&B, all things videography, all things music.
Yep.
Yeah.
Legendary status.
Sheesh.
Getting it done. Lineup way fresher than mine. I ain't had one yet. I just got the hair down. It's a process.
Okay.
It's a process.
Big love, man.
Came
It's
in
a
with
process.
the shiny frames, too. Shoot.
He tried to
I'm mad
outdo
at
me on the clothes. I can't plain Jane today. He threw that shit on.
I did my homework, man. I seen how you guys come to these episodes.
Shoot,
Man.
I appreciate it because some days
We be flagging it out.
catch a can, whatever I can
Right.
catch.
Man, we got none other than your boy Dewey Cox in the building, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, my guy stepped away. We had some hand claps for you, but we'll get them later.
No, that was a beautiful introduction.
Man, appreciate it,
Yes.
man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, Dewey. So just what we like to do is make sure people have a good background on who this individual is first.
Absolutely.
So let the people know like who you are, what you do, kind of like how you came up in this game.
Yeah, so I'm like a serial entrepreneur. So there's several things that I'm interested in. It started with business. I went to school for business marketing. Along the way, I suppose I became an artist, an engineer, a videographer, and I'm gonna say a writer, but not yet. I can't put that one until a couple more months.
Yeah.
But that's where it began. At was me going to school at UNO for business management, and it led me down this path of pursuing my passions.
Gotcha.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I feel like you can call yourself a writer
Yeah.
because you're a
I'm an artist.
videographer,
Yeah.
you're a storyteller, you do all those things. So
Absolutely. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, and actually I'm a writer. Yeah, I'm a writer, but I want to put out a piece of writing before I'm like, hey, I'll probably call it an author. I think I'm gonna flex a little bit and be like, I'm an author.
I love that.
So hopefully in the soon, maybe by summer. Just kind of depends.
Okay. So you mentioned that you have a studio. You started that. And then over time, you eventually became like all these other things. Like, what was it that attracted you to those things? Or how did you make the decision to say, hey, okay, I'm going to extend myself in these areas?
Okay. So off camera, we had kind of mentioned how it started. Like I was just, at that time, I was just a college student who was learning about business and learning about startups and entrepreneurship. And I had always known I want to have a business of my own. And me and my peers, as I'm looking around, we're making music. We're doing, this is what we love to do. So I put together what was called Beats and Tats. And it was a recording studio, tattoo shop. At the time, I wasn't an engineer and I wasn't a tattoo artist. So it was basically my vision. It was before I knew I was sort of a visionary. And I just sort of found people, something that's always worked for me is finding people who are great at what they do and putting them in position to be great.
Yeah.
And I just happen to know some people. Cliff was one of those people who I met like a couple years down the road.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, he's great at what he does.
It's crazy that y'all kind of meant to be because I just realized same last name.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's so trippy.
Shout out to Clifton. I know. I always call him cool, casual, and he is that. He's cool and casual, But shout out to him. So, but to that point, I had people around me who were really great at what they do. Mostly in on the studio side, meaning like they had been doing it for years, heavy lifting in the studio. So I learned a ton there. I was always at that point, just put a little asterisk on it, I have been recording myself since like 7th grade. So I just wasn't an engineer. I wasn't recording anyone else. I really didn't know what I was doing. I was just happy that I had a mic to rap into, and I was like, oh man, listen to me. So anyways, that branched into, from the beginning, I was making songs. So I've always kind of been an artist ever since like 7th grade, maybe. That was when I first recorded my own song and was able to listen to it. It was in 7th grade.
And how 1 to 10, how was the song, the first one?
It was really bad. It was really bad, honestly. So I have over 700 songs, and to be honest with you, they didn't start getting good until probably 640, which was recent. Like, recent music is like music that you'll find, because you won't find the other stuff. It's hidden somewhere in the world, but it was. I'm not ashamed of it or anything. I just feel like more so as you grow, you start realizing like, man, I'm not just rhyming. I need to actually believe in what I'm saying. And you kind of learn that as you're going, or hopefully you do. And, then you can kind of stand on it more and be all the way confident, is how I used to think about it. Cause I was like, it just took me a while before I even consider myself an artist, cause I was like, I'm always weird about presenting myself if I don't feel like I'm right or ready. So I went through that as an artist. I kind of have a funny story of how, it's not funny, but it's funny now, of how I became, like how I picked up a camera and why it came into my life how I did. So I was an artist, like I'm telling you about. This was back in, had to be like 2017, something like that. I hired 2 video people to come with me to LA and basically shoot a vlog and music videos. And long story short, I had these cars and houses and just all the rap stuff, lined up and ready. And we shoot the videos, blah, blah, blah. And then they lose all their footage and it's all deleted.
Dang.
And like, when I get home, I'm like, man, I could do bad on my own. Why am I hiring people? I'm gonna just go get a camera and shoot my own videos. And then you find a passion. You stumble into a passion. And for me, that was big for me. It was like instantly when I started shooting, it just felt right. And it felt like, man, I've been, why have I not been doing this forever? So essentially him losing my video was like the catapult into video and catapult into like sort of this part of my life. The video, even though I've been an artist for a lot longer and even an engineer for a lot longer, the video has really sort of blown me up. I'm not blown up or anywhere near where I want to be, but it made a bigger impact way faster than anything else I was doing. And so I'm thankful for that situation as much as it hurt back then, because back then I felt like it was just like, I was angry. But then I was like, man, this was like, he did me a favor. He did me like the biggest favor somebody could almost do for me. So it's like that worked out well. That was like my entrance to doing videos. And I just started doing pictures like a month ago, 2 months ago, something like that.
Okay. Renaissance man.
Right.
Yeah. But it all started with the vision. It all started with just wanting to be an entrepreneur, learning about entrepreneurs and, business. Yeah. I was always a businessman.
Did you find that your vibe changed as you continue to find yourself as an artist throughout the years? And if so, like, do you feel like you're absolutely in your vibe now?
Now? I don't know. I feel like I think I've been the same person for a long time. I just started focusing more. So like my vibe has always been the same. I feel like I'm kind of the same person I've been for a really long time. And sometimes I'm like, man, do I need to grow up a little bit? But more so I feel like I just became focused. Like even within the last 3 years, like my quality I just focused, but I'm always the same person. I feel like I was telling him earlier, I'm such a silly, funny guy. People don't realize like I'm super passionate about stuff. I do like talking. I do take stuff really serious, But I just think there's something about smiling and having fun that just fits in with me really well. But this is always who I've been. I don't think I've changed in that way. I think I've maybe learned how to be myself on camera more.
Okay.
Like before, I think my buddy always makes fun of me because like a lot of us, when we don't know better, we try to just usually go for the tough look or, oh, I'm not gonna smile, or I'm gonna just be this person I think I need to be. And I really kick that. You know, I feel like everywhere I go, no matter, I haven't been around a ton of celebrities, but when I'm around them, I'm just myself. I don't have any reason to not be myself. But the reason that is because I also believe that that's going to take me far. Like I can only be myself. There's only one of me. And I really like get motivated by that because there is nobody else who's like us of anybody.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Got you. When it's funny how you had to pick up the camera, but that's also been your calling card.
Right.
You know, in the fast-paced progression in your career.
Absolutely.
When it comes to, I want to understand more of how do you see your style is with the camera? Like, how do you shoot? Because most people have whether they know it or not,
a style.
It pays to have a style.
Absolutely,
like,
you should have a style. It's funny because I was talking to Ayana about this, but it's like a style I feel like is our signature kind of. It's kind of our signature, and my style, I mean, is kind of like cinematic. I want to go for like a cinematic vibe. So like that vibe where we toss that around a lot at the studio, because I think when it comes to making music or making art, the vibe has to be on top, because that's what's gonna create. That's the vibe of this room, and the vibe of you guys creates this podcast. And it's like, without that, you know, you can dress it up however you want, but I'll be in here like, man, this wasn't a real conversation, or you know what I mean? So I think I take the vibe very serious. Like that's like the main thing in my studio is like the vibe.
I believe you, because the vibe of that studio is fire.
Yeah.
Clean.
Thank
you. The aesthetic is like top notch.
I appreciate that. And that's on purpose. You know, not saying we want to be top notch, but I just want people to be in a creative feeling, you know, when they're around. When they're there, it's time to create, it's time to be original, it's time to vibe out. You're not gonna think about other things except art. Right. And I think that's important. I don't know if that answered the question you asked me though.
It don't matter. It was the answer you needed.
It's cinematic, right? To answer that, cinematic. I want my stuff to look like movies. There's sometimes when I break the rules of the cinematics to go, you know, music videos kind of break all the rules in a film. I don't know. I love doing it. I haven't shot a movie yet. I do have a script. I'm also an actor. Like I have buddies who film, and I just, as of recent, like 2 weeks ago, nothing's out yet. We've just filmed it, but I'm an actor now, and I'm about to be rolling that out pretty soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
This entertainment period is what I'm really into. And I feel like when you really look at it, being an artist and an actor are very similar, because really you're just like, I hate to say play a character, but that's kind of what our favorite artists are. They're like this superhero character in our mind. And kind of our favorite actors are kind of like that too. Maybe that just helps me jump into it, like, oh, I'm jumping into character. But the two places where it's different is music. I feel like you should always be yourself, but with acting, you can obviously play a character. Right. So those are the two. I really think we need to be ourselves, but when you're doing scripted work, you obviously have to immerse yourself into the character. And I think it helps me be an actor with how much of a director I am. Like that's my main job, is being a director, looking at a scene and seeing what we should do with it, where people should be at, what they should be saying, or what they should be doing as we're working on the production.
I love that.
Yeah.
Eric and I, you probably heard us talk on like previous episodes, but we're always having that conversation about Omaha supporting artists, creatives.
Right.
Because it's, you know, it's a small market that's growing, and there's a lot of us out here. But then you also hear people talk about drain brain in Nebraska where kids go to school, and then it's like, I want to work in said industry, but they feel like they can't flourish here.
That's
and
what
they have
drain
to-
brain? I haven't heard that one.
Brain
yet.
drain.
Brain drain?
Right.
Okay.
Yep. And they feel like they have to move to another city to be successful. And as you can see, Omaha is expanding, but with you having created the studio, I think you mentioned 10 years ago, right?
Yeah. 10 years ago on Saturday.
That's crazy.
March 15th.
Congratulations. That's big. What was it that made you want to build that out here in Omaha instead of taking it to a market that you thought may have performed better?
Right. Honestly, I didn't think about that. I never thought about like other people or other. I feel like sometimes when you have a vision, you have to be kind of ignorant with it. You have to think like, if somebody did this before, they weren't me. They weren't, and not even on a sense of that, but just I wasn't thinking at all. I was just like 22, just like
I need somewhere to record.
Yeah. I need somewhere. I'm recording every day at home. Let me just make a studio. It wasn't. I didn't think I had no idea this was gonna happen. 10 years, because at that time, like I said, I didn't have a camera. I really didn't have a lot going on, other than I was in school. But I was just working and saving up, knowing like I want to own my own business one day. Right. I just didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't know it was going to line up with my passion. And I think that's what really connected the dots. Because there's plenty of times, and I'll just be crystal clear about it, over that journey of 10 years, there was plenty of times where I wanted to give up and it wasn't working and things looked bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't always, like I always tell people who meet me now, it's like, you know me now, but like you didn't even, there's so much that I went through that you missed, or not that they missed, but like, it's just,
wasn't a part of it.
It's like, I wasn't always this, like, I think kind of maybe you were asking it like that. I wasn't always this, like, I don't know, business savvy probably.
Gotcha.
But I was just, like, hey, we're gonna make this work. We're gonna do it. We're gonna pay the rent and figure it out. And really, like I said, I really, really locked in like 3 years ago, and just something clicked. And I feel like I just understand things differently now.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely understand that. I'm very much get it out, get it how you live.
Right.
Hey, we gonna make it happen.
Right.
Oh, who's doing that? I don't care.
Right. Exactly.
I'm gonna do this.
Right.
Hey, what do I need? Oh, run into somebody like, oh.
And I feel like to go back to what you said about how people want to do things here and they maybe feel like it's harder here. I just think they gotta try it first before they say that. It's all, maybe the people who tried it before you weren't running their business right, or maybe it'll be different now, or you gotta do it first. Plus, like in 2025, so many things are like, I think location matters a little less.
Yeah.
Of course it matters a little bit, but I'm in the mentality like, let's build it here.
Yeah. We live in completely different times like now,
Right.
And I think COVID taught us all that biggest lesson. Like you can do whatever you want no matter where you are. But like I say all the time, Omaha is growing. So it's a big deal to see.
Are they still making people quarantine?
No. And if they are, they quiet about it.
Yeah, I know.
I'm in the public health world. That's not been a thing. It's put a mask on if you're sick.
Yeah,
I know, right?
I remember I was sneaking in the back of nail salons in LA because they were supposed to be closed.
And LA was different.
Yeah, well,
LA
it
was
lasted
different
for
than
a
Omaha.
long time.
So two of my best friends live in
Blue states
Hollywood.
versus red states.
So
Yeah.
it's like, absolutely. It was, I remember telling my buddies, I'm like, man, I'm outside right now. We're going, all these things is happening. And he's like, man, they're shut down in LA. Like you can't go to,
No, for real.
And I'm like,
Did y'all have a curfew here? Like a driving curfew
I think
during COVID?
maybe
actually,
for 1 week.
that curfew we had was during the George Floyd.
Okay.
protest.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, because it was
that's
so
right.
hot, and then I think we had the issue with downtown
Okay.
with why did I just blank on his name?
James Skurlock.
Yeah, Skurlock, where James got
Oh, okay.
killed. So we had a curfew that week.
That's crazy.
And that was kind of the end of, that was no more curfew.
That's
Right.
Like, because that was a curfew. We didn't have, for COVID,
Yeah.
we didn't necessarily, I think businesses shut down, but being in this state, they tried to figure out a way to keep
going.
everybody open. So
Right.
that's when they started doing the drive-through liquor.
Right.
Yeah.
Like all that. So like, they was like, no, we got to survive. And
Yeah.
so it
That's
was
a crazy.
completely different vibe in the rest states. Like,
For
Yeah.
sure.
like, yeah.
I want to say LA had I want to say the curfew was between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. It
Crazy.
was something like that.
That's wild.
But the crazy part about it was, I remember one day, I was like, man, like everybody was literally locked in. There was nobody on the street. And I was like, this is so crazy because LA is known for its traffic.
Right.
So it was like to see no cars on the street. But I kid you not, I drove from, where was I at? Downtown LA. I got to Long Beach in 20 minutes, which never happens. That's like an hour and 15
Or
drive.
people never been to LA would think like, what's that mean? Why? Yeah.
But it made me realize how small the city was.
Yeah.
And it was reminiscent of Omaha because I literally got everywhere in 20 minutes when nobody was on the street.
Yeah. COVID was
Nuts.
wild. This podcast was born from COVID, huh? In some
Yep,
way?
yep.
In some way?
It was an idea
Vision.
from me posting music every day to stay active.
That's beautiful.
Right.
Named it Streets A&R because I was literally posting a new song and a new artist every day except on Sundays for 35 weeks straight.
Hey.
And
That's
it
dedication.
ended up birthing, the podcast, the title, and moving from there. So it's COVID pushed the world forward in the tech space
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the communications
Mm-hmm.
because we got cut off from face-to-face, hand-to-hand communication. So it pushed, like, you got to remember right before COVID, video interviews and all that was still not really up to
Right.
par. Skype, you know how they did
Nah.
Skype, Uvu, all that stuff. Zoom wasn't a thing until
Yeah, no
COVID
facts.
hit, and they ran with that market
that's
share,
facts.
and made everybody else catch up to them.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So it's even now we don't. It's like when you're looking for something searching, you say I Google it, even though you might be on YouTube or whatever.
Right.
When you say, "Oh, can you set up a Zoom meeting?" You might be using Teams, but you say
No
Zoom.
facts.
Why you say
And-
Zoom?
because they
That's interesting.
they got in the market the quickest
Yeah.
and was the most advanced and let people do it without a paywall quicker.
Right.
Facts.
So
Might get that 30 minutes.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's still free.
At the beginning, they was
which-
cooking. So
It's like, timing is so important
Yeah.
in business, and that just said it, right? They were ready. They who knows if they had the vision,
Right.
but even people investing in gloves, like, it's like, man, that was a great, man, you
No
were
facts.
thinking,
Yeah.
but COVID is wild.
our best businesses started booming. You got to think all the delivery services.
Yeah.
Uber and them were not necessarily
Uber
delivering
Eats,
until
right? DoorDash.
Boom.
Oh
Right.
man, what would we do without DoorDash?
I would survive because I don't use them. I act like I'm a thug from LA. Like I ain't giving no random person my address.
Right.
He was running up in niggas' houses out in
I'm
LA.
like, ooh,
No, they were. But then
Cheesecake
they had
Factory. You would bring it to me?
That's when they implemented the robots. So if you was within a certain radius, the robots would send you your Uber Eats, and then you would just put the scanner on the robot, and it would open it, and it just go right back.
I
up
never
the street.
interacted with a robot.
Yo, it's the craziest thing.
I get like people. I was just like-
It was so fire.
Yeah,
No.
that's crazy.
Yeah. What
We
a
in
time.
Nebraska, we ain't getting no robots.
right.
Far of a drive.
Like robot.
We can't even have that localized. You gotta go way out where? No, we ain't gonna make it.
No.
They ain't gonna make it. They gonna we gonna rob the robots.
Hey,
when
right,
they
I
get
was just
there.
about to say it.
They get knocked
I
off.
think a few people thought about
What
that,
else you
but it's
got in
like
there?
locked and loaded.
I heard about that too.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
If it made it in LA, it could probably make it in Omaha.
Yeah, it can make it.
Pretty close
No,
enough.
that's crazy. Back to I want to talk a little bit about some of your work here,
Yeah.
kind of in this area. What do you see as somebody who's done many videos
Yeah.
for the artists here? What do you see this market as? Like, what do you get from this market, and how have you helped contribute to the vision and the direction of like the music scene here in Omaha
Yeah.
and surrounding areas?
I think I'm trying to think. That was like when you said music at the end, it threw me. But I think I feel like the music scene has grown a lot. I want to say that it's grown a lot. I feel like we're getting more and more sort of like artist platforms. And just for example, not to just
Hey,
having a magazine, for example, right?
Mhm.
Where there's a section in the magazine talking about an artist.
Mhm.
That stuff is important, I think.
Mhm.
These are the things that are important in our city.
Mhm.
So I think to that point, even though we are growing, I think we're missing some of the things that come with, say, like bigger cities like
The
LA
industry, yeah.
industry, right?
Yeah.
Write-ups, magazines, platforms like this, places to go do that stuff. Like, for example, we used to have a bunch of selfie spots that popped up actually
Right.
all at once, but they all kind of went away at once.
Mhm.
And those were actually key spots for like creators, artists to go and get that imagery, you know, because anything can work when it comes to the art, but there is like, a Lamborghini looks different than a Honda. Not saying the Honda don't look good,
Right.
but it's like in some cases you might want the highest end thing. And I know we have some stuff here, but I think that's what we're missing, because I think the talent is here on the production side and on the artists themselves.
We like missing the auxiliary services and
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
capacity. Not
And even I don't wanna be hard on the radio, but I feel like we don't have that artist radio connection.
right.
It's more like, and that could be just my opinion. I do like the new radio station. I do like what they have going on. But I just feel like they're it's kind of on the artists too, because I think a lot of our artists are not operating as a business.
No.
They're operating as, I'm passionate and I believe in myself.
Just a creative.
But yeah, just a creative, but not really taking themselves serious,
Yeah.
or treating themselves like a business, giving themselves opportunities to make money, trying to figure out how do you monetize your brand.
Right.
Whether you're an artist or a magazine.
They lost some of that too during COVID. That's the downside of COVID. Everything went digital, but they forgot about the boots on the ground, like
Right.
in the actual networking and making connections, and what is the importance of radio in terms of artists and putting on shows and things like that.
Facts.
What's the importance of having a media outlet?
Right.
What's the importance of having magazines?
This is almost the new radio. Almost,
Yeah.
right? It's like, because in my opinion, at the radio, it at some point on regular listening hours should have opportunities for people to be involved.
Okay.
Even if it's not me, just any of the artists. I don't see a lot of people other than, I think we had Sundays for a little bit, but it was like I just think there could be more there.
Yeah. What was that? It reminds me of back in the day, regular cable, it was like channel 21 or something. And they would feature like
How
local
long ago?
artists.
A couple years ago?
No, like
long.
long time ago.
Yeah.
Like in my teens, and I'm 33
Okay.
now, but
Okay.
I can't remember what it was
It
called.
was called, wasn't it Channel 22?
Yeah.
I can't remember that at all.
22.
I don't remember.
I wasn't
seeing
here, but I done heard about
Yeah,
it. So they were
yeah.
on
They used to
Okay.
feature a lot of the local artists, so you got to see folks on the come up. But no, you're absolutely right. There's
And I think, but other than that, I feel like those are the things we're missing. Is just like the outlets and the industry. But we do have talent, and I feel like we have people. I feel like before it was like Omaha was proven, hey, we have talent too. We have talent too. And then, but now we're at this point, we have talent. We realize we're talented, whether it's the people doing the production or it's the artists singing and rapping into the microphone, or, we have the talent now. But now it's like, all right, how are we, are we doing what the industry is doing with our music, or are we just like posting the same thumbnail every day over and over? And that's not a shot at nobody, but the idea is like, if you don't know, find somebody who does know,
right.
and what are people doing with their music? What are famous people doing? What are their labels doing with their music? Are they in magazines? Yes. Are they on the radios and, negotiating contracts with other brands? And so I think what we are missing is management here.
Very much.
But it's also like a educational thing. Because if I'm like, hey, I want to be your manager, but I need you got to pay me now monthly.
Right.
This ain't. I'm not getting paid from when you go do stuff.
Right.
You pay me as a manager, and I
work.
I work.
Yeah.
So like I think that concept is going over people's heads right now. Most people's. I mean, but obviously you see people who are becoming signed and they're getting management now, but it's sort of through being signed.
Right. No, you've got a good point there, and I feel like we had went through an era already where a lot of artists were becoming popular off of just popcorn music, right?
Yeah.
With the presence of social media. So a lot of creators felt like, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna post my song once, twice, put it on my story, and like hopefully somebody will catch it, or I'm gonna pay $45.99 to this guy who says he works for Atlantic,
Right.
you know, to shop my beats or things like that. But just along the lines of that, because Omaha has operated as a small town for so long, I feel like it kind of looked at other cities, looked at other artists and said, okay, I'm going to adopt this method. But it was very surface level without doing much research.
Not knowing what they're truly doing behind the scenes or what people are doing for them behind the scenes. But that also takes like, you know, it's not easy giving up the pie, being like, hey, this is the pie that I created and made. So now I got to give you guys both a slice. And every week I got to give you guys a slice.
Yeah, but we trying to make a bigger and better pie.
Right.
Like that's the basic easy bake oven pie you got. Now we got to graduate to the kitchen.
Right.
And that's kind of like on the video side, I feel like this is something that me and people around me have been talking about. I don't know what everyone else is doing, but we're realizing like, even as people probably value my work, but I can't pull up solo and do the Avengers movie. It's never gonna work like that.
Right.
I need to come with like the lighting crew, the filming crew,
costume design,
crew, set design, costume. I need all of these things. And these are things we have in our city. If you just look up, you're like, oh wow, we got all this. But there's nobody who's like, or there is big companies that are doing this, but like there's nobody on this level who's like being like, hey, I mean, we're doing it behind the scenes. Like I mentioned Gretzky to you, you didn't know, or do you know who Gretzky is?
It sounds familiar.
Me and him work closely, but we've been like big on the theme of like team. Yeah. Like I can't do this alone.
And that is right there is the biggest thing. And a lot of people don't have that mentality.
And the harder part about that is that usually comes with the budget. So it's like now I go from whatever I was charging to let's double it and I'm going to bring him in and we're going to do this and this. So it's like it's hard because it's sort of by system could elevate what I'm doing and then be not as accessible to other people now. Right. So it's like, so then people will be like, oh, I want something like this. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to hire 7 people. You know, the base cost before we do anything is like $2,700. Right. And there's companies that are like, oh, wow, that's great. But then as an artist, if someone tells me that, I'm like, dang, I don't know if that's in my budget for just one video. Right. You know, so that's the tough part. Yeah. And I feel like it's kind of on us, the production people, to find a nice balance of, you know, maybe I think we do seek the bigger budget projects because we're only going to learn and get better. And then by me getting better, I'll make everybody I work with better. Absolutely. But I use the bigger projects
to offset those costs.
Right. To sort of fund my year, we could say. So then now when I'm working with people from my city, hey, I'm not going to charge you what I'm charging these companies. Right. You know, and we're also doing different work. I do think also it's like a slippery slope because it's like you charge what you're worth, but then you start realizing you're worth a lot of money. So then it's like, dang, I don't want to offend you. Right. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it works that way. Yeah. It's like you're trying to elevate, but you also don't want to separate, you know, but then they're like, oh, you got to separate to elevate, you know, and then, and you know, now you're trying to figure out, where are you at? And I think that's why sometimes people move away. Or if someone's like, hey, Dewey, we want you to shoot our movie. You got to be in LA for 6 months though. And then it's like, well, dang, I didn't want to necessarily leave the city, but this is a great opportunity. Right. Or, you know, I think stuff just happens, but it is a puzzle that we're trying to put together and trying to figure out how do you get, you know, my favorite 3 shooters plus me as the director plus a lighting crew at your video or your set or your whatever. Because if you get all those things, it's going to look like it's on TV. It's going to look the way we want it to look. And it's hard, more so I should say timely, which is money, essentially, to do it by yourself. If you're a one-man band, that's great. But there's limits.
Right.
There's limits.
That's beautiful. Another shameless knob ties plug.
Right.
That's why that's why I have the section in there called Close Ties, where I list out the producers, the engineers, the DJs, and all that stuff.
All that's
Because
important.
If you don't know, you don't know.
Right.
And if you have a resource where you can get access to all that stuff, that's the point of it all.
It made me think, like when we have these award shows, I'm always someone who really likes those. And I feel like it's always like half and half. People are divided. They're like, they're awarding people who they know or something. And then there's people like me who are like, dang, we never get feedback. So this is great. I like those award shows. I like when we give back to people. I like when people put people in the magazine because it's like it helps paint the picture.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't get, I don't know, Eddie's like dope and he's popular, but it's like who knows how many opportunities he'll have to be written up like that.
Right.
And that's why that stuff's so important.
Yeah.
And it gives the artists, even them now, leverage.
Right.
I'm a cover artist. I'm a feature artist, and it's legitimate.
Right.
It's not like, no, we can verify this. It's out. It's an issue. So.
And it's giving flowers back too. That's what originally I was kind of saying. The flowers feel good. It's like they don't always mean like monetary value, like, but it feels good. Like if I'm at the gym and somebody random comes up to me and say they saw my video last weekend, I'm like, dang, that happened to me, by the way. And I'm like, dang, thank you.
Right.
Like that's dope. That's nobody can say anything better to me in this gym today. And it's just the little flower of like, hey, I saw your stuff. I think you're dope.
Yeah.
Because artists really don't hear that. They don't hear it unless it's from people who are like supposed to say it.
Right.
So that's a whole different level of it.
Yeah.
So that's why I brought up the award show thing too, because I like when people get their flowers. There's always gonna be people offended or like, oh man, I worked hard. But I like when people give their flowers.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you're working hard. You're doing good.
It's necessary.
Yeah.
It's necessary.
So what's up next for Dewey?
Okay.
What does Dewey got?
Yeah. So I got something.
What Dewey got cooking in the stew?
Yeah, it's cooking up. It's cooking up. So, obviously a lot of music. I feel like I've sort of flipped that switch just this year. I was talking to, I don't know if you guys know D-Lo Giovanni, Mr. Milk the Game. I was telling him, this was in late December, and I was like, D-Lo, man, like, because we both kind of, not like, we both have eyes on us, I'll just say. And I told him, I'm like, man, if we post every single day, our lives will change within 6 months. I told him that back in December. And like, ever since I've been posting a lot, like photos, everything. And I feel like now it's starting to kind of like, it's starting to buzz up a little bit. But what I was trying to get at was like, if we just stay consistent, stay, so that's what I've been doing. I've been locked in as an artist. I've been making a lot of music. I'm about to just keep letting it come out as it's coming out. Working with new people, trying to just, honestly, I felt like last year I didn't do anything in music. So this year I'm trying to just, 10x what I did last year. And then just take that and just keep adding to it, see what comes with it. But at the same time, I do feel like this is a good time to mention the book I'm writing. Saying I'm gonna be an author. It could be a very intimidating
process.
But it's something I feel like in my little groups, people who are close to me can attest. Like, I've been talking about like financial literacy for a long time and just building your own foundation. The same stuff we talking about with the industry. That's how I feel about finances. You have to commit to something and build it. Create your own foundation. Figure out what investments are like. Figure out, and that's kind of what the book is talking about. It's talking about how to empower yourself. And sort of like, the book's not done yet, so I can't give the best explanation of it, but essentially it's empowering yourself to take it on yourself, and don't wait. I'm not going to walk out of here and find a big bag of money that's going to allow me to retire. Nobody's going to hand that to me. So I gotta build it myself, and that's what the book is about.
I love that.
So I'm really excited about the book, because I always felt like people would always tell me like, man, until you got a book, you know what I mean, all this stuff. And I'm like, man, well, I'm gonna write a book about that. but then just realizing it's another one of those things. It's like, this is like record on repeat for me for the past like 5 years. And I went to school for it. So even just for a long time, I've been talking about finances and budgets and all of this stuff. But I feel like I was talking to somebody who made me realize, like, sometimes the messenger is the main, what do I want to say, catalyst in people understanding you.
Yep.
You know, and the direction you're coming from. And
Sure.
and I feel like this book aims at communicating to people who are not business majors. Because I think a lot of the literacy that's out there is from a business person standpoint. Not all of it, obviously, but it's always from like a standpoint of like I kind of understand, or, you know, we're talking about millions, when this book is very like focused on the regular person.
Gotcha.
And how like I see where we can go. You know, it's a visionary book though, for sure. I mean, I'm really excited about it.
You have a tentative deadline, or you just letting it flow?
I want to have draft 1 done by my birthday, May 21st.
Okay.
So we're already a few chapters in. And it's not a Harry Potter book. It's not going to be, you
Right.
know, but it'll probably have 9 or 10 chapters.
Okay.
It'll be an easy read, and hopefully very relatable messages are put in it more. So I think it's funny because most people probably expect me to be talking about video or something like that, but it's really not about that at all. It's more like real life application and thoughts, opening thoughts, you know, learning about yourself, loving yourself type thing, you know.
That.
So I'm really excited about the book. I know I said that, but I'm really excited about it.
The other side of Dewey.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I know.
For
And
sure.
we're gonna see you on YouTube ads.
I know. They're gonna be like, oh man. Right.
Are you struggling with finding out what you should be doing?
Exactly.
Like that Dewey? And did he shoot it? He shot it himself.
I know.
Self-contained machine. You know?
No, I don't know. I feel like I battle that. Or I don't battle it, but people around me battle that. They're like, man, you need to lock in. Like my buddy is always telling me, man, just put everything into being an artist. Just do that. But I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah, I
Can't do that. I can't.
Especially when you are a serial entrepreneur and creator.
Yeah.
It is very, very hard to just lock in because
On just one.
everything flows together.
Plus, I feel like too, it's in the book.
Mhm.
But if we dedicate our time correctly, we can do multiple things.
Right.
Absolutely. The reason why we can't, we tell ourselves we can't. That's the first reason why. But the second reason why is because we don't schedule it.
Right.
It's like, how can you expect to get stuff done if it's not even on your schedule?
Right.
You know, and I have several things on my schedule every single day.
I love it. It's beautiful.
It's kind of simple too, in terms of like, you know, it's like, I want to do this thing, I should make time for it.
Yeah.
You know, but we get caught up. It's easy to get caught up.
Do you notice when you divvy up your time, or you're more intentional about setting time to do specific things, that it becomes easier to the point to where you like, oh man, I got a lot done, but I feel like I put in minimal effort? It's a weird feeling, but you got a lot accomplished. But
Yeah, I think I don't ever think about my effort level, because I think if and it ties into the financial talk too.
yeah,
It's just like what we do every day, compound interest. So it's like, you know, my daily habits are going to be a reflection of me in like 6 months.
right.
So if I'm doing, you know, if I'm talking financing every single day, it's nothing new to me. It's not something new. If I'm in the studio every single day,
Yeah,
it's nothing new.
Right.
So it's like my effort is just almost by being there.
yeah,
It's almost like, you know, I'm not thinking, oh, I went harder or less harder this time. Even though I try to look at myself like, man, how can I get better?
right.
You know, but I don't ever think like, oh, this effort wasn't enough. Because I think there is times when you're gonna feel that way. You're gonna be like, I didn't get as much done as I wanted to, but it's all just made up in our head.
Exactly.
We're our biggest villain sometimes.
Yeah.
We tell ourselves something and then we run with it. And then it's like you tell your friend about it and you'll be like, man, you're crazy. What? You thought
Right.
you thought that about yourself?
No fact.
And it was like another big thing is like looking in the mirror. I use that like figuratively, but it's like a lot of us don't want to look into the mirror and identify things like, oh man, you say you want to be an artist, but dang, you haven't done a video this month, or
Right.
you haven't done a song. And it's like, that's looking into the mirror and seeing yourself. That's a
accountable.
skill, kind of,
Right.
you know, being able to identify things. Because I think there's a lot of us who were just so passionate, we just think it's gonna be good because I'm passionate about it.
Right.
But that's not always the case.
Right.
You know, took 10,000 hours to get right here.
For sure. For sure.
Man, got a lot covered.
Yeah, I know, right?
With a lot left on the table.
yeah.
Man, do way too much, but actually don't do enough.
Yeah.
That's what we really.
I'd like to do more.
We got more to get done. Real quick, Dewey, before we get out of here, can you let the people know where to find you, find your work?
Absolutely. So that's Dewey, THATS, Dewey. It's gonna be pretty much on any social. Dewey Films is my brand, so if you see that, I probably have my hand in it. But just a message, you know, keep doing what you're doing, and the thing that you feel like you should be doing, you should do that every day. Because like I said, it's gonna add up. It's not about, you know, you don't go to the gym once a week and then wonder why your body's not like where you want it to be.
Right.
And that's the same with all this other stuff we just talked about. Just keep doing it. Keep doing it. Don't think about the results or what other people are doing. Just find your thing or things and make time for them. Put them on your schedule. And,
Right.
you
Let
know,
it ride.
but keep going though. I feel like never look at where you at, because if we cross the finish line, usually that means death is next or something, or you know what I mean? I don't want to get to this point where I'm just like, yeah, I'm completed and I'm done. Cause it's like, I'm so far from that. I got like so long to go before I feel like that.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
yeah.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir, man. We definitely appreciate you coming through,
Yeah, this was fun.
sharing time with us, sharing insights.
Went by so quick.
Yeah. It ain't
It's
quick.
beautiful.
Phone ringing,
Right.
all that. So yeah, man, we appreciate you, bro.
Thanks for having me.
We can't wait to see the next steps that you take, not just as an artist, but in your other endeavors as a human being. And then we are continuously
Thank you,
evolving and growing, and continue to try to share more of who you are, because that's all you're doing. That's why you don't got to be pigeonholed. You get to show people, no, I do this,
Right.
and just show your depth as a person, and as a being, man. So we definitely appreciate you coming, man.
Thank you.
We're going to get up out of here with, you got Streets A&R. You can find, it's Streets A&R. I almost forgot it. You can find us on everything but Apple. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, share, comment, watch, listen, post, repost, put us in the stories. Do it all, man. Especially, and make sure y'all support the people who really out here doing it, and make sure you support yourself, because you said you want to do it.
Absolutely.
Support yourself, and people, the support will come, man. The support will come. But on that note, we going to get out of here. It's your boy, Giddy Jicky with it.
And it's your girl, CLB.
Thank you again, Dewey.
Yes.
We out.
Thank you, Jesus.
Peace.
Peace.
The beats, the flow, the rhythm. All movement starts from the streets.